So, hello everyone, and I hope all of you are staying home, keeping well, staying safe. Welcome to the Indo-Canadian Business Chamber series of webinars. This is the Bengaluru Regional Council webinar, the second of its kind, where we are reaching out to our members and people, because as we all know, these are challenging times indeed, and social distancing has become a norm. And at this time, to stay connected is a challenge, but also a necessity. We have to stay in touch, and we have to constantly find new ways of staying in touch and keeping connected. And what better way to be connected and to stay in touch than through the eyes of a filmmaker and a storyteller. We have with us Ganesh Shankar here. Welcome Ganesh, and thank you for joining us today. I will be asking Barry Prabhu, our chair of the Bengaluru Regional Council, to give a proper welcome, extend a proper welcome, and say a little more about you, Ganesh, before we actually begin the session. But before that, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to introduce Barry, who is the chairperson of the Bangalore Regional Council. Barry is director of Novatech International, which has a great presence in India. And he has been very active in the pharma field as well as helping the chamber in a lot of other verticals. Pallavi is here. Pallavi Saxena is, she manages the operations for the Bengaluru Regional Council. Actually looks after everything, as Barry will, second me in saying that she has been the backbone of the BRC. And Pallavi, thank you for bringing it up to this level. We have 5 regional councils. So Bengaluru is one. Then we have the Mumbai Regional Council. We have the Gujarat Regional Council, East and Northeast, and then the North India Regional Council. And while ICBC has been hosting a number of webinars on economic, political, and commercial issues, we felt that it is very necessary to have the people connection. We want to do a personal connect, people connections, and that is why we want to have these webinars just for our members to come together, to network, and to be entertained and informed by people like Ganesh. So let me hand it over now to Barry. Barry, please take it forward, and we are really looking forward to the session, me too personally. So we'll be here listening and have a great session. Over to you, Barry. So Barry, just unmute, yeah.
Yeah, is it? Okay, hi. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Nadira, for the welcome, and welcome to Mr. Ganesh. And thank you for putting up Pallavi for this webinar. So the chamber has grown in strength with quality of engagement in the Indo-Canadian sphere. And thanks, Nadira, to make it stronger under her leadership. What we didn't have previously when it was all well. So I think this is a change, and this change is greatly welcome. And I think this is going to be what's going to be happening in future. So without taking much time, I'd like to introduce the speaker for today's evening, Mr. Ganesh Shankar Raj. He's a filmmaker known for producing and directing new age digital films, documentaries. He also produces and directs films for National Geographic Channel, which is one of my favorites, under his production house known as Inner Eye World Films. So Ganesh Startup Initiative is in the media space, is a new age digital storytelling platform called India Media IA, meaning the mind of India. Yeah, India tells unknown, untold, unique, and positive stories of India and Indians in a curated story format of 2 to 5 minutes, and which is a great learning for everybody who really wants to get to the depth of certain things which we do not see normally. So India's films garnered more than 1.3 million views so far and 13 million plus impressions. A true orator, he believes in being involved in every aspect of filmmaking, from the script to editing. Every film stands unique in creativity and fitness. So with an eye for excellence, no stone left unturned to ensure the satisfaction of audience. A very warm welcome, and over to Ganesh to take it forward from here. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, good evening, everybody in India, and good morning and good afternoon in other parts of the world. So, thank you, ICBC, and thank you everybody at ICBC for inviting me and having this webinar. So, I would like to start, this webinar with a small PPT presentation, and along with we are playing a number of films. These films have been shot across the country, from Andamans to Arunachal Pradesh. We have shot these films. So how we shot this film, what is our vision, what is our mission, and these are the things I'm going to take everybody through this 40 minutes webinar. And people who have got questions, please share it in the chat box, and end of the webinar, we will definitely answer each one of your questions. So the topic is rebooting India. So rebooting India can be from different angles, different perspectives from different people actually. So in our industry, we are filmmakers, we are creative people, we do films. So across India, how we are rebooting India through films, that is a topic. So that is what we wanted to actually bring in this 40 minutes, how we've been filming, how we are changing the landscape of storytelling, how we are taking new stories to people and unknown stories to people. The stories really wonders you, when you hear, when you see these stories. That is what we are going to do in this next 40 minutes. So I will start with the one question here. You can give an answer towards the end of this presentation, end of the session. Can you guess the second longest wall in the world? Obviously this is after Great Wall of China. The Great Wall of China is the #1 in the world, the longest wall in the world. And the second longest wall, can you please guess? And you can give us your answer towards the end. So here we go. We are known as India. So Barry wrongly pronounced it India. That's a small problem with us right now. But, if you actually put M to India, it becomes mind and it becomes India. So we call ourselves India. That's the way it is pronounced, India, and the mind of India. So we bring the mind of India through films. Across the country we shoot, and stories, nook and corner of the country we shoot, and we bring stories to mind of people. That is what we do through this digital platform. So I want to give you a small introduction. We've been in the business of filmmaking for close to 2 decades now, and we are one of the few film production houses work with National Geographic Channel in India. We also work with a lot of multinational companies in India. So we've been in the business for about close to 20 years approximately. And we've been in the factual and the brand storytelling. That is what we usually do. We have been doing all this while. That's our bread and butter rather. And so we wanted to create something new in the media space. So myself and a couple of my colleagues came together and we said, we will bootstrap a media platform in the digital space, in the startup space. So startup is a buzzword now, everybody's into startups. So we thought, why don't we do something and contribute something to the country and people? So that is how we've started India. So I'll play a small teaser here. From there, you will be able to understand what we are and how we are actually functioning in this space. So I'm sure many of you already got what is India is all about. India tells unknown, untold, unique and positive stories of India. That is what we do. We create our own productions. We bring the best of Indian content. And the most importantly, we tell the stories in about 2 to 5 minutes. We are actually an online platform, cater to the mobile audience. Essentially, a mobile audience is what we cater to. Therefore, we understand what is the need of the mobile audience, what they look for. So we tell these stories, these unique stories, these positive stories in 2 to 5 minutes format. That is what our platform actually does it. So where was the problem? Why did we start this platform? Where's the need gap? That is where we were addressing. So in India, if you really look at it for the Indian audience, the factual and the lifestyle channels, they play, 90-95% most of the time, the foreign content, the US content. Whereas the Indian content actually is not getting highlighted or is not showing in a positive way. So we thought there is a need to do something, in that space. And then there is a large Indian diaspora missing out on positive content. India's history, innovation, science, art, humanities, you can go on. Actually, there's a huge amount of stories in this space. But I know, probably the audience would know here, hardly you heard about any of these, positive stories from any of these verticals, whether it's history, innovation, science, whatever we are talking about. So that is one need gap we found. And then we found another need gap. The Indian television channels actually caters to a certain kind of audience. Mostly it's a politics, or, mostly it's opinionated, mostly it's, supporting this side or that side of a political spectrum. So, they are not in a position to play this kind of movies or films or bring out this kind of messages. So there was a need gap. And then, there's no dedicated media platform for young Indians, the millennials, the Generation X. They don't know actually what's happening, in India, or what was the past, what is the present, what is our future, what is our vision, the mind of Indian people, the mind of the innovation that India wants to do in the next century. There is nothing of that sort happening in this space. So then we thought, there's a problem, there's a need gap. Therefore, we brought out My India. So if you see the right side of the presentation, on the right side, you can see the kind of images, most of the time, foreign media or the Indian media itself, play. They like, the negativity, which is what we want to remove it. Therefore, we brought out My India. So what I'm going to do is that, there is a place called Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which is part of India. And it's an archipelago. It's in Bay of Bengal, in fact, what surprises us most of the time, even Indians, they themselves are not really, aware about this place or know about this place, or, they ask often, do we need a passport to go to, Andaman and Nicobar Islands? That is the question what you get. You don't need a passport to travel within your country, right? So, that is the kind of questions what we get, when we talk about Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So what we have done, when we went and filmed one very, very interesting movie there, and this particular mammal, which lives in Andaman, is being an archipelago, the 80-90% is actually full of water, the beautiful place. And, there one particular animal lives only in that particular sea, Andaman Sea. So we filmed that animal and we brought that out on our platform, and then we shared, we've actually propagated the story of Andaman through that film, I'll play that film for you. Please have a look at it.
The Andaman and Nicobar Islands, India's unique cluster of islands. A hotspot of marine biodiversity, and home to the dugong, or sea cow. The world's largest herbivorous marine mammal, grazes on 50 kilos of seagrass every day, and lives only in the shallows, where they can stay underwater for 6 minutes. This mysterious mammal, who was an inspiration for tales of mermaids and sirens, has become a very endangered species, who are hunted for their oil, meat, and skin. There are under 250 dugongs left across the islands. So, what are you waiting for? Head over there to catch a glimpse of our friendly, gentle giant.
So here you go, you've seen that beautiful film. This we shot underwaters of Andaman Seas, So I'm sure many of you have heard about dugongs, but you were not sure whether dugong lives in Indian waters. Actually, they do. They live in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. As the movie said, as the voiceover said, next time when you go there, you please try to catch a glimpse of it. It's an amazing sea cow, beautiful animal, mammal. So I will take you to the next slide now. So now you understood that, why we created this space, why we created this digital medium. So we actually take a normal content, the content which is actually very normal, which appears in newspapers or television news and things like that. We take those stories, which is a positive story in a way, and when we curate it, we tell the story, we give a shape, we give a perspective for the story. So that is what we do, number one. And number two, we have an ability to tell the story in 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes format. And, otherwise, this for the mobile audience, as I said in the beginning, therefore the story has to be as short as possible, as sweet as possible, as simple as possible. That is what we do. And then, we can cover stories from history to travel to humanities, to any cultures in a 2 to 5 minutes format. And digitally through online platform. As I said, our online platform is a My Dear platform. And these films are getting really popular, really, really popular. We have reached some huge numbers in terms of the audience, which I'll tell you in the coming up slides. So there is another story which I would like to tell you. So Andamans to Mumbai, Mumbai to Andamans is around, very far. So here is the story what we found. India is a country with about 1.3 billion population. But, I'm not sure how many of you have heard about a taxidermist. So there is only one practicing taxidermist in India now. So when we heard the story, we contacted the gentleman and then we met him in Mumbai. Then we requested him whether, we can do a small film with him. He said, sir, nobody had told me this so far. There are many television channels, newspapers, everybody came, but nobody had told us, about making a film on me, on my work. He was very thrilled. So we said, we will film you. So we filmed in a half a day in his apartment in Mumbai, and then we brought out this beautiful story. Please have a look at it.
Mumbai, the megacity with millions of jobs. Amongst all this chaos, there's one man who has a job like no other, the power to bring the dead back to life.
In the year 2003, I visited the Prince of Wales Museum in the Mumbai. I saw that very, very life-size tigers and lions, mammals were mounted. Then my subconscious mind really was very impressed. And then I started to find out some solutions regarding taxidermy.
Previously a full-time vet, Santosh Gaikwad made the jump and became a taxidermist.
Taxidermy, it is art. It is a combination of 5 arts. It consists of cobbler art, then sculpture, painting, carpentry, and anatomy.
Since then, he has stuffed hundreds of creatures.
The installation of the eyes is very important because when we install the eyes in these taxidermy trophies, it becomes alive.
His clients range from government agencies to just regular people who have a sentimental attachment to their pets. And they are willing to shell out thousands of rupees to preserve their pets for eternity.
Taxidermist is more closer to the nature because it handles each and every part of the animals.
He also heads India's first wildlife taxidermy center and is India's only wildlife taxidermist. The center is both a workshop and a museum that preserves wild and rare animals from across the country. Today, barely a handful of people want to learn this art. But India's lone taxidermist carries on his journey to give animals a new lease of life.
So I'm sure that, you will never forget this word now, taxidermist. This is how, we brought the next film, which is actually from Mumbai. So from Andaman to Mumbai, we brought the second film, in our journey. So I want to take you to a little bit of, the journey of us so far. As we start making these films and we brought out on our Mindtier platform, and then we understood that, the people started liking it. The student community, they started asking for more and more films. We started getting social media questions, where was it shot? What was it done? How is it done? How can we contact him? And things like that. That really made us to think that, there's a huge amount of audience, young audience, the millennial audience. They are more interested in these kind of stories. They are just not interested in the negative stories, negative news. So then we found out that, people on the move, over about 80% of mobile audience started watching our films. Instead of having one forward, forward, which has got absolutely no meanings. People can watch these kind of movies on their mobile when they are traveling in a train or traveling in a metro or bus or whatever it is. So wherever they're stuck, they can open their mobile and watch. So 80% of our mobile audience have come forward and they started watching our film. And then there's a age group, across all sort of age group. People started asking questions at the age, the 10-year-old boy to 80-year-old woman. They started asking, how did you make this film? Somebody had called us and said, thank you so much for bringing this story out. That really moved us. Across all age group, people started watching it. And then there's a huge Indian diaspora. They are actually not getting to see the positive side of the country. When they are living abroad, when they are outside, they wanted to know and they wanted to tell their friends in those countries that, how India is, what is India is all about. Therefore, for them, it is actually giving a big purpose, serving a big purpose. It's a relief for them, to see the positive stories of this country. So the target group, the consumer target groups are actually divided by these 3 to 4, different verticals, different audiences. So this is absolutely a new age model which we brought out. Therefore, we are under startup. Startup means, you need to come out with it. You need to disrupt something, so you need to disrupt an existing system. So that is what we are doing it right now. So, our revenue model connects with the brands. We go and tie with the brands. Brands wants to tell a story. We can connect the brands with these stories. Then we will do a digital marketing, and then we will take the direct audience to the brand. So that is one way of this model is working. And then what we are doing is we are also giving a lot of value proposition for the brand. Actually, instead of spending a lot of money on television, for an advertisement, the brands can come and associate with us to 1/3 of the cost what they spend on television. So in that way, the return of investment, ROI, is very high for the brands. Therefore, this new age model is working very well even for the brands. So that is something which actually, I wanted to take you all through. So the brand association I was just saying, so when we've introduced this idea to Karnataka tourism, the Karnataka is a state filled with amazing, the diverse landscape, the cultures and the wildlife and things like that. Karnataka has got the largest, number of Asiatic elephants in one place called the Kabini. That great is this state is. But they were not doing the tourism promotion, very well, or the traditional way of promoting tourism was not really working for them. So then we introduced an idea of, bringing one of these curated short films and connect your brand, Karnataka Tourism, with that. We said, we will take it to your target audience. So that is where, we went and filmed, Mysore Palace. Mysore Palace is a world famous palace. It's an amazing place for anyone to see it actually. And it is actually, the place Mysore itself is referred as City of Palaces. So it's the largest and the most opulent in the surviving palaces located in the city center right now, out of all the palaces. And this one particular movie we have made in general, we connected brand Karnataka Tourism with that movie. And the movie went really viral, and the Karnataka tourism started getting a lot of inquiries for audience, the people to travel. The travelers wanted to go to this place and see this. I'll take you to that movie.
The Mysuru Palace, an epitome of magnificence, grace, and resplendent beauty, and also the seat of the famous Wadiyar Maharajas of the Mysuru Kingdom. Every year, the Mysuru Palace is witness to over 3 million visitors, both foreign and domestic, making it one of the highest visited places in the country and the world. The rulers of the southern region, the Wadiyars, reigned for nearly 500 years, with 25 kings, a succession which continues even to this day. Present-day palace is the fourth to occupy the same spot. The first palace built in the 14th century was destroyed by lightning. Its successor was rebuilt and dismantled several times during the reign of Tipu Sultan. To mark the Wadiyars' return to power, a new palace was commissioned by the 5-year-old Krishna Raja Wadiyar III. This beautiful wooden structure tragically burnt down while the wedding ceremony of Princess Jayalakshmi Ammani was taking place. That year itself, Her Majesty Maharani Vani Vilas Sannidhana, Regent of Mysore, delegated Lord Henry Irwin, a British architect, to construct a new palace. This was completed in 1912 and expanded in 1940 under the rule of the last Maharaja of the Kingdom of Mysuru, Jaya Chamarajendra Wadiyar. The palace is one of the finest examples of Indo-Saracenic architecture. Known for its Gothic revival of Muslim and Indian styles of art and architecture, the palace is a 3-story stone structure made using fine grey granite with domes of deep pink marble and a 5-story tower measuring 145 feet. Many fascinating attractions lie within the palace itself. The strikingly embellished and finely chiseled doors within lead to richly and elegantly ornate rooms. The magnificent and exquisitely columned Darbar Hall, with its solid silver doors, finely incised mahogany ceilings, and other embellishments, will leave you spellbound and craving for more. Numerous antiques crafted from gold, silver, marble, and ivory from around the world, some as old as 900 years, can also be seen. Celebrated in autumn, the 10-day-long Mysuru Dasara festival commemorates the victory of goddess Chamundeshwari over Mahishasura, symbolizing the victory of good over evil. And on the 10th day, with great pomp and zeal, the Dasara procession initiates from the palace, the central attraction being the idol of goddess Chamundeshwari, seated on a golden mandapa made of around 750 kilos of gold. Today, the palace, with its large, beautiful and well-maintained gardens, makes the site even more spectacular, and with light and sound shows organized to tell the stories of one of the greatest dynasties in India, the Wadiyar dynasty.
Yeah, there was a Mysore Palace for you. You know, next time when you are in Karnataka, Bengaluru or Mysore, please go and have a visit. Go and visit this place. It's a beautiful, beautiful palace. Absolutely out of the world. So here, you know, I'm just telling you that, you know, I've told you in one of the earlier slides that, you know, how it's getting very popular amongst youngsters and students and across all age group, rather. You know, we've received almost 13 million plus, you know, impressions so far. number of people who have seen our channel Mindia, either as an advertisement or a video pushed through their mobile or desktop, it's passed through about 13 million plus people already. We are about 1 year old. And our channel reach, it's almost about a 2.2 million, the channel reach is so far. And the number of people who viewed our videos, the kind of videos what you've seen so far, the number of people who have seen these videos, about 1.3 million people, We just started with one small idea of creating a digital channel to tell unknown, untold, unique and positive stories of India. And we can't believe that it's passed through about 1.3 million views so far. That is the beauty of creating something which you want to do in this world. It can be anywhere. It can be in any country for that matter. But 1.3 million people who've seen these films, it's really amazing. So that really encourages to move forward further and to do a more such number of films, whether we associate with brands or whether we bootstrap it or whether we do it in some other means. But, the people who want to see this video, this kind of stories, is actually growing. So that takes me to, another slide, which actually I want to present this movie to you. This is the most viewed movies, amongst all the films we produce now. So we have, this particular dog, it's a hounds, the hounds, I'm sure many of you know about it. So India has got about 6 or 7 hounds, native hounds. So in this, there is a place called a Mudhol. It's a small village in North Karnataka, in southern part of India. It's a small village, very small, little hamlet. That village name is Mudhol. And this particular dog was named after that village. And today, the Indian Army has inducted this Mudhol Hounds into the army. And this is the first time an Indian breed got inducted into the Indian Army. So we made a film on that. The film went absolutely viral. There were close to about 9 lakhs plus people have seen this video already. And as a result, when we made this film, and the more the government authorities are showing interest of picking this breed and inducting into their services. Please have a look at this film.
Here's the first Indian dog to be drafted into the Indian Army, and there's reason to celebrate. Fiercely brave and loyal, traits that are perfect to protect a nation, the one and only Mudhol Hounds. Mudhol Hounds have a unique and distinguished look, beautiful with graceful features, anointed with athletic long legs, a slender body, an elongated skull, and a tapering muzzle. These dogs are ideal for hunting. Unique eye placements give them a 270-degree vision, making them the perfect specimen of a sight hound. Story has it that the Raja of Mudhol, a tiny region in present-day Karnataka, presented King George V with 2 pups, and he christened them as Mudhol Hounds. Their tryst with royalty continues, as it is said that the 2 dogs that lie beside the great Chhatrapati Shivaji were Mudhol Hounds and were famed for their courage and loyalty. After the decline of the princely state of Mudhol, the hounds lost some of their glamour and privilege, but were adopted by the local villagers for their functionality as hunting and guarding dogs. In order to conserve this magnificent species, a canine research and information center was established by the government of Karnataka in 2010. The villagers who had helped the breed survive became beneficiaries of the revival scheme. Today, these impeccable hunting hounds are beginning to relive the glory of their past. In recognition, the Indian government had released a special stamp to celebrate this Indian hound. It is here in the Meerut cantonment that a 200-acre state-of-the-art dog training facility is instrumental in training the dogs for the Indian Armed Forces.
It was almost 2 years back. Karnataka government has sent a proposal for gifting Mudhol Hounds so they can be tried in the Indian Army. Then we thought of trying them for training in the army. So we put them once after receiving at the age of 6 months. We put them in the obedience training and afterwards some specialized training. So they can see there how they can adapt to the army. Since being the Indian breeds, so they are very easily available and well adapted to our conditions.
But now they have discovered that when it comes to the circuit, from hurdles to ropes, from bridges to scaling walls, and even chasing a motorcycle, the Mudhol Hounds far outpace the German Shepherds. This speed, when matched with their outstanding stamina, make them highly competent guard dogs for the armed forces. Once the training is complete, the Mudhol Hounds, outfitted with doggy coats and boots, will make their way to the Himalayas. Here, these brave warriors will help patrol the high mountains and our borders. Once the companions of royalty, they are today royalty in their own right. The first Indian breed to serve in the Indian Armed Forces, the mighty and magnificent Mudhol Hound.
So that was an amazing story. In fact, even for us, when we filmed it, we couldn't believe it. You know, we filmed it from southern part of the India to northern part of India to upper Himalayas. We went all the way to film this story. This is truly truly satisfying story for all of us in terms of our scripting, editing, everything. So that was another story we wanted to tell you. And now I want to take you a little bit about, how we execute these films. We have a very unique way of finding a subject and execution. So the moment we hear about a story, what we do is our research team immediately get into, finding all sort of details, nuances about that story, whether it's through newspapers or online, whatever it is. Then we filter the whole stuff out. And then once the story is identified, further research and fact checks are done, by our team. And we call up people in their whether it's however remote the place is, we find out people, we call them up, we speak to them, we get all the information out. And subsequently, what we do is that we filter the information and then we weigh pros and cons of it to fit into our philosophy, our framework. Once it fits into our framework, then what we do is that, we get into production. So we have a network of freelance production teams across India. We've trained them, literally online we trained them, each one of them. So today we are talking about, working from home, and we are actually filming from our studio for the last 1 year. Many of these stories are actually filmed through this model. And, there is the recce and shoot. And many times what happens in the typical production style, the recce is done and then the shoot will be done. But in our case, what we do is we do the recce and the production together to economize the whole thing. And then frequently we get into contact with the production team while they are on shoot, We analyze the footage. Online, we get the footage on the same day, we analyze it, we tell them, what needs to be corrected. The course correction is done. Immediately by end of the day, we get the right footage, what we need. So we make the story into an evergreen story by putting through these processes. So this is my dear school. You can see this is a remote village in Himachal Pradesh, the northern upper Himalaya, the lower Himalayas. The northern state, Himachal Pradesh, we were shooting in a village. And then the post-production, we on edit, the story gets tweaked. In fact, my co-founder and editor, Sujit, who has edited most of these films, is sitting with me here. The edit is on edit table, a lot of the story gets tweaked, according to the footage what we received. And then there is always an open mind in terms of, cutting it, editing it, adjusting it to bring the story, to make the story happen, rather than getting stuck with some idea. And then, the most importantly, while we are under startup, we have the agility to execute any story within 2 days. Our maximum number of days we have spent for any of these films, what you've seen is 2 days. And the minimum what we have spent was 2 hours. I'll show you a film. Actually, we filmed it in just 2 hours. And the film has become very, very popular. So here's a school, it's a village school in Himachal Pradesh, as I said, near Himalayas. It's a school with just 2 children. So what the government has decided, government said, even though we have only 2 children, and we are not going to close the school down. So we are going to appoint 2 teachers, and we are actually going to make sure these 2 students will get educated and they will pass out. That's the story. Please watch the story.
मेरा पिछले 22 सालों से ये एक्सपीरियंस है कि मैं अलग अलग जगह पे रही हूँ। पहली बार में ऐसे स्कूल में मैंने ज्वाइन किया है जहाँ पर पिछले साल 3 बच्चे थे और इस बार 2 बच्चे हैं। यहाँ पर ये है कि जो हमारा सुंदर स्कूल है, इसके आसपास गांव नहीं है, बच्चे कम हैं, लेकिन सरकार ने यह सोच के स्कूल को खोला कि यहाँ पे इसकी जो सिचुएशन है, जोग्राफिकल सिचुएशन है, वो इस तरह से है कि बच्चों को यहाँ से सड़क पार और ज्यादातर रेलवे लाइन पार करके जाना पड़ता था। तो इसलिए उन्होंने सोचा कि बच्चों को एक प्राइमरी स्कूल, एक पहली से 5वीं तक यहाँ खोल दिया जाए, जिससे कि 5वीं के बाद थोड़ा बच्चा बड़ा हो जाता है तो वो दूर भी जा सकता है। ये जो स्कूल है ये 1998 में खुला था। पहली से 5वीं तक यहाँ पे सिर्फ 16 ही बच्चे थे और 1998 के बाद 16 बच्चों से हमेशा यहाँ पर कम ही होते गए हैं। पिछले साल 3 बच्चे थे, लेकिन एक 5वीं लड़की थी, अब उसने भी सर्टिफिकेट लेके चली गई। अब यहाँ पे 2 बच्चे हैं जो कि दोनों ही भाई हैं, तो इसलिए सरकार ने कहा चलो अभी अगर 2 भी हैं तो भी ये स्कूल चलेगा। खेल का बच्चा 9-2-11 बोलिया। कई बार ऐसी कोशिशें भी हुई पिछले साल भी कि 2 या 3 स्कूल को जहाँ पे 2 या 3 बच्चे क्लब कर दिया जाए, लेकिन लोगों की उसकी और जो यहाँ की प्रधान है वो इनमें इन्वॉल्व रहती हैं, तो इस वजह से ये नहीं हो पाया। उन्होंने बोला कि नहीं, बच्चे नहीं जा सकते, बीच में एक नाला भी पड़ता है, तो सरकार ने वो चीज देखते हुए इस स्कूल को ऐसे ही रखा। अब हमने ये चीज देखा, अगर हमें लगता है कि हमारे पास 2 ही बच्चे हैं तो बहुत इजी है, लेकिन ये मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है कि जहाँ पर ज्यादा बच्चे हैं तो वहां पर ये लगता है कि चलो 10 में से हम 2 ही अच्छे निकल जाएं तो बहुत अच्छा है हमारा रिजल्ट। लेकिन हम ये सोचते हैं एक बच्चा भी हमारे 100 के बराबर है और उसको भी हमको ऊपर उठाना है। तो इसलिए मेरा सौभाग्य है कि मुझे कम जहाँ 2 बच्चे हमारे पढ़ाने का मौका मिला।
What a beautiful story it is. In fact, this kind of stories, I don't think, the traditional media can bring out. That is where we've actually came into this space, in fact, as I said. So how do we reach out to the audience? We are building a tribe for Mindea Online. I sincerely hope that, after watching, our presentation, this webinar, after going through it, many of you will come and follow us, become a part of our tribe. And audiences who like a positive stories, people feel empathy towards another fellow citizen, which mainstream media may or may not give enough importance to. Those kind of people are coming and joining us. And we work through both organic and inorganic models on social media to reach out to people. But the most importantly, the tribe getting built now. The people who have got empathy, the people likes this kind of story, they are joining us more and more. That is how actually we are taking these stories, these films to people. So we are also going regional across the country. We are going to go very soon, and dubbing into regional languages we are going to go. And then most importantly, we are also going to come out with a web series based on the true stories, true positive stories. The web series we are going to create it very soon. And we are also going to create it customize it for key diaspora markets like Canada. I'll show you one. So this is purely thanks to ICBC, Indo-Canadian Business Chamber. We could actually conceptualize this particular idea. So here there is an idea to bring cultures and communities together through a shared love of food between two countries, India and Canada. So when we came across this story, we thought we don't need to limit our capacity or the expertise within, India itself. We can actually take the stories from anywhere in the world. Therefore, we juxtapose an Indian chef in the Canadian landscape to showcase some of the finest produce in the world from Canada to an audience that loves its food in India. Because many of this produce to India comes from Canada. So the Indian chef is actually going to go to Canada, and then he's going to explore the whole thing. And then he's going to tell the story about how this produce is happening, how these farms are working, farmers are doing, and how it's getting exported through India. That is something which actually we wanted to do, and we were supposed to go on floor by June of this month. Thanks to Corona, we are not very sure about we are going to film it this year, this particular story. So as we move forward, we go across the country, we hear stories. This is a 1,200-year-old house in Kerala. We found, this was a place where Adi Shankaracharya was born. He was not born in Kaladi. He was born in, this is a mother's house, Adi Shankaracharya's house. You can see the architecture, what an architecture. And this is, the 95-year-old man, Adi Shankaracharya's descendant, he's sitting there. This is a story we found in Kerala. We are actually in the process of filming this. And this is another story in Odisha, in other part of the country. This is Asia's largest freshwater lake, Asia's largest freshwater lake, known as Chilka Lake. We already started filming little part of it there. You can see our crew there. And there's another story, India also has apes, not just Africa, So we found, in a state, northeastern state called Assam, where gibbons, the India's only apes living. So we are in the process of filming that. I'm just giving you an idea about, the kind of stories what this country has got. And next story, what we already filmed this. This is something called a cosmic farming. They follow the moon cycle, the farmers. They are tribals, in fact. The tribal, they follow the traditional knowledge of moon farming. They follow the moon cycle and do the farming. And for your surprise, this coffee is actually being sold in Paris, not in India. Mainly it's been sold in Paris, and it's very popular in France now. So it's been actually cultivated by tribals with their traditional knowledge. It's been sold in one of the most cosmopolitan cities in the world, Paris. Can you imagine stories like this? And now I'm coming to an end of the presentation, and this is the fault. I asked you one question in the beginning, which is the second longest wall after Great Wall of China. And this second longest wall, which is in India, which is known as a Kumbhalgarh Fort, which is in Rajasthan, North Indian state, this is a beautiful place. So the state of knowledge, the state of, propagation of positive stories is such that the people are not aware about it. That is why I asked you this question. Many of you probably were aware about it, but this is the second longest wall. Look at this place. Beautiful. Next time you are in this place, please have a look at it. Please go and visit this place. So we are coming to an end to the whole presentation, and this is our channel, My India. I would request each one of you to go and watch it and subscribe our channel, and also to share it with your friends and your community, your circle around. And please reach out to us. Please write to us, separately. And also please send us the stories. If you have any unique story from any part of the world, please write to us. We are filming a story today in Paris and in Singapore. We are getting stories from all these places. So please write to us, and also please subscribe to My India channel. So thank you so much, each one of you, to be part of this wonderful webinar. And this is, My India is rebooting India in its own way to, telling stories through films. I hope all of you have enjoyed, and stay safe and take care.
So Ganesh, we have a lot of questions coming in. Would you like to answer them?
Yes, definitely.
So we have Devavrat Bhatia from Mumbai. He's asking, what impact do you feel drones will have on films? Do you expect a drastic change in times to come? when drones will be used for filming more commonly?
Yeah, in fact, drones have played a major role in filming many of our films. What you've seen here, you know, whether it's Himachal Pradesh, whether it's Chilka Lake, whether it's any of these places, what we're doing, every film, we try to bring a drone shot. So drones are going to play a major role in filming, you know, I mean, of course, they are playing a big role in other things as well, not only just filming. So the drones are going to play a huge role, in fact. And drone is a part and parcel of every shoot of us.
Sure. And there's another one, keeping in mind the current scenario wherein people are confined to their homes and keep themselves occupied with informative films. What do you feel the impact of Netflix, Amazon, Hotstar would have on the Indian market?
Well, they're doing very well in their own way. They got their own audience for sure. But you know, I mean, it's my personal opinion. Probably, you know, I wanted them to produce more of Indian content, because India, every state of this country has got amazing stories. You know, whether it's the writers or the artists. You know, we have quite a large number. So I don't see lot of Indian stuff, but I see a lot of imported stuff on their platform. Therefore, you know, I feel they should bring more of Indian content, and probably they have their own reason for that. But what we are going to do, you know, the Indo-Canadian cooperation, what I mentioned, that we are going to convert that into a web series, you know. So we are going to bring it on our platform, My India platform. And this is a purely an Indian content, what Netflix and Amazon and all others are doing. So the similar stuff, we are going to create it, and we are going to create a true story, based on true stories, a web series on the My India platform. But I like to see more of Indian content on any of these foreign platforms.
Sure. Thank you so much for this interesting session. Barry, over to you now.
Thank you, Ganesh. Very interesting. Seriously, it was very interesting. You brought out so many things that was really many people didn't know, and it becomes more interesting to travel the length and breadth of the country from these interesting sessions that you provided, and from the lens of a filmmaker, and keeping most of the audience today informed of the different beauties that we could see in the country. And this was a great editing workshop, very fascinating, and it kept us glued to the screen. Seriously, I was really glued to the screen to see all those beautiful and interesting things that you said. So thanks to everybody for joining us today in this webinar, which was a very interesting one. And the ICBC hopes to have more interesting webinars like this in the coming days. So keep tuned and we'll keep you informed, and have a great evening. Thank you very much, Ganesh, and thank you, Pallavi, for organizing such a wonderful session.
Thank you very much, everybody, and Pallavi and Barry, thank you so much.
Have a great
Thank you,
evening.
Ganesh.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Barry.